I was married to my husband for 3 years. I didn't have any kids. My husband has an extremely low sperm count. We couldn't give up, so we chose fertility treatment. 5 years, I continued to get hormone shots. Maybe it was because of that I was always skinny, but I somehow put on almost 45 pounds in 5 years. Even after we stopped treatments, my weight doesn't seem to drop. I didn't eat many sweets and I didn't really drink much alcohol. I would walk and restrict my diet, go swimming and try all kinds of exercises, but I really couldn't lose the weight. The only thing I could think of were the treatments. The sad part was that my husband would occasionally look at my body and sigh or
I liked you when you were skinnier.
complain to me about my own body. When I went to her house, my mother-in-law would say things like, "You're so different," or "You're probably just lazy," and the complaints would never stop. The people in the neighborhood would say that I was the reason we couldn't have kids, and eventually, it's his low sperm count, not me. I started resenting him, but I knew that that was the one thing I shouldn't say out loud. So I kept it to myself, but when we got in a little argument,
I didn't expect you to get so fat. You tricked me.
I couldn't stop anymore. If you were a man who was actually fertile, I wouldn't need these stupid hormone treatments! It was too late. I had already said it and my husband had left to his home. The next day, he apparently went to work from his parents' house. I don't know if you'll come home today, but let's talk about it once you do. I told him, but he didn't come home that night. I didn't know if he was more hurt than I had thought, but he kept ignoring my calls. 4 days after my husband had left, my mother-in-law had called and chewed me out. He had told her why he left. "You said something you never should say!" She was furious. I had a reason I said that. I wanted to tell her, but I figured she wouldn't listen, so I held it back. "Can you put my husband on the phone?" I asked her to put him on, but she said no, of course. "You need to come over so that you two aren't emotional and talk about it," is what she said. "He's thinking about divorce too. You two got married, so figure it out." She had said a lot of other things too, but they didn't make sense, so I just ignored it. As far as divorcing, I don't have any qualms with it. I left her at that. In addition to all the daily complacence against my body every day, the disappointment of a man who was almost 40 running to his home and acting like he was the sole victim was enough. I was completely done with him. My brother had called me, worried.
I understand how he feels as a man, but you knew that already, right? The only reason you said that was because you were already hurt. I feel like both of you are bad in this. I think all that matters is what do you want to do going forward.
I don't think I can continue living with him. My brother laughed on the phone after he heard me.
Okay, then here's your answer. I'm going to go with you on the weekend, so let's go tell them together.
Thank you. I was glad that I had someone in my corner, and we went on the weekend. My brother, my husband, and my in-laws had showed up. My husband was the first one to break the silence.
I knew it was because of me. That's why I couldn't stop pestering you.
He seemed so small when he mumbled under his breath.
I figured you had gained weight because of the fertility treatments, but then that would mean admitting that it was my fault you gained weight. I was so sad, but it looked like you didn't care about anything. I felt like you didn't care that you got fat because it was my fault, so I couldn't stop but blame you.
My husband honestly told me what he was thinking, but that was the final straw. I wanted a kid. I always have. You realize what kind of pain I went through accepting that I may never have a child in my life. But this was something that I had no control over, so I kept doing things to occupy my time and satisfy me, work that I enjoyed. I wasn't always positive. There were people who were rude to me and say things that were hurtful. But if I had taken it to heart, I figured it would hurt you, so I ignored it and moved on. Then, I didn't think that was going to make you think that I didn't care. I didn't realize that I was crying before my brother handed me a handkerchief. Maybe I should have berated my husband for not being able to have kids every day. Is that how he saw me every day? I was in shock that my kindness had actually bit me in the butt. I don't think you'll ever get over your little problem. I wiped my tears and looked him straight in the eyes. We can't be husband and wife. I don't want to. I want to talk about divorce. I said you two need to talk about it!
Mom,
My brother shut her up real quick.
you need to let them talk to each other about how they really feel first. I don't want to think about divorce. I won't say anything about your body, and I'm sorry for how I was victimizing myself. So please.
What? So people accept us? So I'll take care of the house, because you didn't do anything for me before. My husband was at a loss for words. I had no other answer except no.
About this?
My father-in-law, who was silent this whole time, finally said something.
My son is completely in the wrong.
My mother-in-law looked angry and my husband looked sad.
I want you two to work as his parent, but you have your own life. I don't want you to throw it all away for him. It's tough being married if there's no love. This is your fault, son. Give up.
My father-in-law seemed to be the level head of the house. If you're not going to cooperate with the divorce, I'll hire a lawyer, but I'm not changing my mind. Next time, we'll talk with attorneys. My mother-in-law and husband both looked disappointed to the end, but that's how our talk ended. I successfully divorced him a few months later, through the service of a lawyer my brother introduced to me. If I were my husband, maybe it's my fault. Sometimes I think about it. But if we got along, it wouldn't matter if we didn't have kids. We could enjoy life. Marriage means we enjoy each other to the fullest. There needs to be trust. I felt like this really showed that off.
I enjoyed mountain climbing. This weekend, I went to a certain mountain. It would be a difficult climb for a beginner, but no problem for an experienced climber. I was planning on staying overnight, and had the equipment to do so. It's really nice today. I'm gonna climb as much as I can while I can.
I don't want to climb anymore. I want to go home.
There's no trash can. You think I can just throw it away there?
I don't know.
I stumbled into a pair of girls who had an incredibly rotten attitude.
I hope there's some kind of attractive man around.
Seriously?
There were a lot of things I wanted to complain about, but I ignored it and climbed. However, just around midway up the mountain, the weather suddenly changed for the worse. It started pouring, and I set up a tent to wait it out.
Excuse me, do you mind if we stayed with you for a little bit?
The two from earlier showed up, soaking wet. I don't really like these two, but I should help them. Sure, I have extra towels, so feel free. I'm going to make some soup if you want some.
Thank you.
After I gave them soup, it stopped raining, so I would take them to the nearby break house. The weather has torn up the roads and it's going to get dark, so you might want to hang out here if you're not used to climbing. Do you have cash? You can't use cards here.
We have cash. Thank you so much.
We want to thank you later. Can you give us your contact info?
Huh, I guess they do have manners. Sure, but don't worry about it. We have to help each other out up here. I left the two after exchanging information. I made it to the top alone and headed home. A week later, I got invited to dinner from the girls. I went to the store and found two men with them. They looked like fathers. Oh, hey you guys. I thought it was a little odd, but when I said something, one of the men suddenly hit me in the face. How dare you touch my daughter! I didn't understand anything as I fell on my ass. The other man was standing there menacingly. You forced yourself on our daughters in the mountain house, didn't you, you disgusting man? I was at a loss. When I looked at the girls, they were staring at their phones like nothing was happening. We're going to sue you! Next time we'll have a lawyer. You better be ready. They yelled as they left the store. I was just in shock. Later on, a woman who said she was a lawyer had made contact with me. We started talking again. They still acted like they had no idea what was going on. There's something I want to tell you. I could feel a rage building in me, but I held back. I told the pretty lawyer. They've made everything up. I helped them when they were stranded in the rain. that's all. How dare you! Don't lie! I'm not lying! I explained the whole truth to them, but they were seriously confused. They looked upset while listening to me. The lawyer just had her arms crossed, emotionless. Hey, is he telling the truth? Are you lying? One of the fathers questioned his daughter.
No, of course he's lying.
Exactly. Why would you believe him?
They actually got mad and started screaming.
Just pay us damages.
We'll forgive you. I think further investigation is necessary for this, so let's meet back up in 1 week.
The lawyer, cool and collected, suggested that we reconvene in a week. I thought I was doing a good thing. I couldn't stop sighing. The next day, I had gone to work, more exhausted than usual. Suddenly, my boss called me to his room. You wanted to see me? Yes. Some people contacted me about you forcing yourself onto 2 women. It was those damn fathers, wasn't it? Apparently, they believed everything their daughters had said and then complained about it to my company. How did they even know where I worked? This is all a mistake. There were some problems and there's a formal investigation, but... I explained everything clearly, but he wouldn't listen to me. I can't believe what you say. I had to look out for you and your work ethic, but after this, I think my mind is made up. But... Don't take it personally. I was fired without my side of the story even being heard out. The day of the discussion, I had reached the end of my patience when the lawyer quietly opened up her documents.
I have contacted the break house that your daughter stayed at. They apparently had 2 young women stay, but they did not see a man. There were also witnesses claiming that he had climbed the mountain on his own after he left your daughters at the break house.
They were trembling from shock. The girls looked away like they weren't listening.
His innocence and your guilt have been proven. Was there a reason behind your lies?
They answered and banged on the table. How could you trick your own father? You liars! The girls yelled out of anger.
It's his fault that our plans were ruined.
Plans?
We were planning on getting rescued by an attractive man and making an amazing mountain climbing boyfriend. But we were saved by this regular man.
So we baited his contact information and figured we could milk him for his money before condemning him.
The fathers were standing around confused. I didn't understand either. Something was wrong with them. Just as I was about to calm down, I felt my anger boiling back. This time, I directed it at the fathers. I was fired. You realize that, right? My boss believed everything you 2 said. Why would you do that before you heard my side of the story? We're sorry. The fathers begged for forgiveness, their faces pale.
Thank you all for being honest with me.
The lawyer tried to relax the tension and started talking matter-of-factly.
Both of you will pay the plaintiff $200K each for lying and defamation. Additionally, the fathers will pay him $30K each for directly costing the man his job.
The silence was loud. I slowly clapped. Can I have the fathers apologize to my company as well?
I think that can be arranged. What do you 2 say?
The fathers both quietly nodded. That way, my reputation would be cleared.
We can also sue for defamation and damages since you were wrongfully fired from your company. I would say $500K is a good amount. What do you think?
Sure.
Also, as far as attorney fees, I will be sending both of you a bill on a later date.
The lawyer knew exactly what she was doing. Everything was settled. Hey, breakfast is ready! Wake up! Wake up, or else... I pulled the futon open and my girlfriend, who was in a ball, woke up screaming.
What the heck?
Come on, let's eat breakfast. This half-asleep girl was a completely different person from that lawyer I saw. Yeah, you're exactly right. I asked out the lawyer, and we started living together. Because of the amount of money I got from compensation, I didn't need to work immediately. I basically am a stay-at-home husband.
Can I have coffee too?
Okay. I guess it all worked out.
My husband, Hiroshi, had a sister who was a single mother. The baby daddy was a dreamer. When she was pregnant, he was almost out of his 20s and still in school. And by school, I don't mean college. He had gone to a movie school and graduated, but went to 2 other movie schools before he couldn't finish and left midway through. He just started at another school, apparently. His parents also didn't want to deal with the kid, so they wanted her to abort the baby. The man also laughed and ran away after saying he couldn't be a father. Her own parents said that they would abandon her if she didn't abort because she wasn't even married to anyone. And yet, she didn't abort the baby, so they cut ties with her. So there is no father. When the son started understanding things, "Where's my daddy?" he asked. She showed pictures of my husband when he was going to college and said it was his dad. In other words, she showed him pictures of my husband.
He's far away now, but once he gets employed and makes money, he'll come back.
Or so she tells him. I didn't know about that, let alone that my husband even had a sister. So when we were going to put in our marriage paperwork, I was dumbfounded when some random woman showed up.
I'm home! Wow, it's been so long since I've been home.
What are you doing here?
What? I heard from some friends that you're getting married. Our family didn't say anything to me. So messed up. Here, it's your daddy.
She pointed at my husband. Next to her was a 7-year-old boy. Daddy? He looked confused. My husband had no idea what was going on.
Dad?
He just kept repeating, confused. My parents and I were both also completely stunned, and my in-laws had fell on the ground after being surprised. My uncle was the first to question her.
Who is this kid? What are you talking about?
Uncle and his wife.
What do you mean? It's my kid. You already forgot?
She answered as a matter-of-factly.
Hiroshi is his father, you know, so I figured she should see him too.
Everyone was at a loss for words except her. She turned to me and said,
He's really smart, you know? He might go to med school. You can't have kids, okay? You know how much tuition can cost.
I'll
take care of raising him, so don't worry about it. Also, make sure that Hiroshi pays and takes care of all the school occasions. It's pretty tough being a single mother. It shouldn't be a problem considering we have the same last name.
What? What the hell is wrong with you?
Sweetie, please calm down. My father was furious, and my mother tried to calm him down. My parents-in-law were furious, but the parents-in-law were...
I'm sorry.
So sorry. Incredibly apologetic. Then my husband finally broke his silence.
You're kind of talking crazy. When did I say that I would be your kid's father?
My husband was furious with anger. My sister-in-law, on the other hand...
You're my brother. You're gonna help me. I don't care about what you think. Besides, he's happy he gets to see his daddy. Here, boy, say daddy.
She tried to get him to say something, but he just kept looking at my husband and then the sister-in-law.
Stop trying to force it on him! It's wrong for me, and your kid is clearly not appreciating it either!
The son was a little scared by this and hid behind her.
How can you say that in front of your own son? You're a failure of a father!
She held her son and screamed, but my husband wasn't having any of it.
I said I'm not the dad! What's your problem? And on a day like this?
He started scratching his head roughly, and his hair was eventually a mess. He was even more angry than before.
You were kind to me when we were kids. I was sad after you left the house, and I even wanted to see you again. But I didn't think you were this crazy. I'm not going to be his father, and I don't want to see you anymore.
How could you call me crazy?
My parents-in-law were just stunned by the two heating up. They were of no help. My husband's aunt, however. You need to leave with that child right now. We're going to call the police if you don't. She was ready to throw down. My sister-in-law shut up a little bit before cussing under her breath and carried the son away. Sorry, you'll be far from your dad again. We could hear her saying something from down the hallway, and my husband just held back and hit the ground. Our marriage papers never got put in. Just thinking normally, the whole thing would be called off. But my husband was begging my father so it wouldn't be over. It wasn't his fault anyway.
I'll let it go because of how much you love my daughter. But on one condition. Yes, sir? You need to cut ties with your house. Otherwise, she might come back and start saying something.
But then he doesn't have a place to go home.
I feel bad, but what are we gonna do?
But...
You're our son-in-law now. Help us out.
Dad!
Thank you!
He cut ties with his family and joined her house. Few years passed after not seeing his parents or his sister-in-law.
Hey, let's have curry! Hey, don't be selfish.
Yeah, we're guests here. That boy had ran away from his mother when he was in middle school. Don't worry about it. I'll make curry. Just relax.
Hell yeah!
My uncle and aunt-in-laws let out a heavy sigh. They had liked my husband before and came by every once in a while with the boy. As you can see, he's really gotten along well with our household.
I wanted stew!
You're gonna leave behind the carrots anyway. You won't grow up if you don't eat.
I'll eat the carrots too!
My elementary school daughter also got along well with him.
You two can play, but make sure you help out.
Yes, sir.
My husband, who started graying, told them, and I couldn't help but grin. I didn't expect this. Who knew that the kid would grow up to be taken care of by her brother's wife? I still remember her crazy face sometimes. Oh well, he doesn't need a daddy anymore.
We can have stew tonight.
Okay, we'll have it tomorrow.
We're sorry, but you're the only one we can depend on.
What? But... About a year after my husband's passing, his brother and his wife came to see me.
My son isn't a lot of dad, and we need your help.
It was late at night, so I let him in the house. Looks like they were having some money troubles. They had 2 kids, and the older one was up to his neck in debt. He started begging me for help. His wife just sat there in silence. She seemed unhappy. We didn't have any kids. My late husband was infertile, but I knew that when we got married. My late husband never got along with his parents. They passed away a few years before he did. His brother threw a big wedding and everything, but since both my parents were gone, we didn't have one. Then they had 2 kids, a boy and a girl. At first they had their own place, but the husband's parents insisted that they move in with them, so they did. When they moved in with them, they called us over to the house.
Your brother and his wife are moving in with us. They're gonna take care of us when we get old, so we want to leave all our inheritance with them,
said his father. His wife Keiko said she was okay with this. My husband's parents had a lot of money, so we were pretty surprised when they told us they were going to leave everything with them, but they had kids and they agreed to live with them and take care of them, so my husband agreed to the terms and relinquished his share of the inheritance. Sorry to hear all that, but what about the money you got from your parents? It must have been a lot. To which he said,
Their medical bill was pretty expensive. It's almost all gone. All we got left is the house.
What? Then Keiko started talking. Yeah, taking care of the elderly isn't cheap, you know. Plus we got 2 kids, so... But you wouldn't know anything about that, would you?
Hey, don't talk like that!
But it's true! And this is your fault, you know? We wouldn't have this problem if you made more money. But wait, it didn't make sense. Hold on, what do you mean by medical bills? Both his parents passed away right after they got taken to the hospital. They weren't even there for that long. I mean, they still spent a few nights there, but it couldn't have been that expensive. And the thing is, these 2 didn't even show up. The hospital ended up calling us instead. My husband and I had to take care of them. My brother-in-law looked confused. I kept going. And now that you mention it, we're the ones that paid for their hospital bill.
What? Really?
Huh? So what? That's not important right now. Keiko snapped at me for some reason.
Wait, is she telling the truth?
We got 2 kids, okay? We needed the money. But they left you hundreds of thousands of dollars. What happened to all that money? Be quiet! You just don't get it. Raising kids is a lot of work, but you wouldn't know that. You never had kids, so... That may be true, but ever since I started working from home, you asked me to look after your kids countless times. What? That was like once or twice, and you enjoyed it! We loved kids, so we enjoyed having them around, but that wasn't the point.
I had no idea about any of this. But if we don't come up with some money soon, we're gonna go bankrupt. We're gonna lose the house.
So long story short, they wanted me to lend them some cash. How much debt are we talking about here?
$20,000?
What? That's it? I thought it was much more than that. They didn't have any money left in their bank account, and their daughter worked at a bank, so they didn't want to take out any more loans. Wait, what about your son? He works too, right?
Actually, no. He's out of a job.
Look, this is none of your business, okay? Just lend us the money! Your husband left you insurance money, didn't he? Hand it over! She was unbelievable. Their son was pretty arrogant ever since he was a kid, but their daughter was the hard-working type. And she always came over to the house to pay her respects to my husband. I thought about helping them for her sake, but there was something else on my mind. Keiko, is there anything you're not telling me? If you come clean and beg me for the money, I'll lend it to you. She paused for a second. Then she called me a cheapskate, got down on the floor, and started talking. Turns out she spent most of the money at a host club. I had a feeling. Her parents-in-law trusted her with everything, but they shouldn't have. She was in charge of the money, and she ended up spending it all. That's why she was always asking us to look after their kids, to be with her host. But that's his job! I wasn't having an affair or anything. Okay. And she played favorites with her kids. Her son liked her, so she spoiled him, but the rest of us didn't see a dime. Look, I told you everything. So can you lend me the money? I need about $50,000 more. What? For what? I thought you said $20,000.
Wait, what are you saying?
Look, I'll just come out and say it. I took out another mortgage on the house, okay? There's no point in hiding it now, so come on, just give me the money. She didn't even sound sorry anymore. If they filed for bankruptcy, they'd lose the house too. That's why she needed the extra $50,000 to pay off the mortgage first. Keiko sat there, waiting for my response. My brother-in-law was speechless. I understand your situation now, but not sure if I can help you. What? Why not? You said you'd help me! I'll help you pay off your son's debt for your daughter's sake, but you never said anything about taking out another mortgage. That's on you. What? But we're all family here. You gotta help us. If you want our children to look after you when you get old, you better do as I say. I already have money saved up for that, so no worries. I don't need your help. Then I said to my brother-in-law, my husband loved your kids, so I'll help you pay off your son's debt, but that's it. I have no reason to help your wife. Now please leave.
Thank you. And you're right, this is all my wife's fault. We won't bother you again.
Then he got up and left. His wife was still yelling at me, but I ignored her. I had my husband's insurance money and lots of savings, so I could have bailed them out, but I don't know, it just didn't feel right. And on her way out, she said to me, if you die, our family's gonna inherit your money anyways, so what's the difference? Just give it to us! Wow, seriously? After that, I talked to my niece and decided to write a will, just in case. I wanted to make sure that Keiko didn't get any of my money when I died. And my brother-in-law sold the house to pay off the debt. Then he got a divorce. After the divorce, Keiko and her son went back to live with her parents. They owned a big farm, so they offered to take them in after the divorce. And when her parents heard about what she did, they bought back the house for him to set things right. So my brother-in-law got the house back. Thank goodness.
So now they're working every day. Mom hates it, but my brother is doing really well, I heard.
Moving out to the countryside worked pretty well for her brother. Things between them were getting better. Thank goodness. Keiko hated working on the farm, but she did this to herself, so oh well. Good riddance. This is Keiko, my mother-in-law. She didn't like me. She was always harassing me. My husband and his father told her to stop many times, but she just wouldn't stop. What does she do? Well, the other day when I was cooking for them, she started cooking next to me. It's okay, Keiko, let me... But she ignored me and made herself a bowl of noodles. Why was she doing this? I just stood there speechless. Then she said to me, "Oh, you were cooking? Sorry, it didn't look like it, so..." Then she continued to eat her noodles. What was her problem? I just wanted to slap her. A few days later, we were at her house again. But then, when we were about to leave, my shoes were gone. Have you seen my shoes?
Huh? No.
Said my husband. We looked everywhere around the house. A few minutes later, we found my shoes in the backyard. I never went there, so I had no idea how it ended up there. I looked over at Keiko. She was enjoying her cup of tea. Sometimes she comes over to her house, but whenever I offer her a cup of tea, she says no thanks. She always brought her own for some reason. You sure you don't want any? Oh, I'm fine, thank you. Your tea is too bland. Why was she like this? It was so frustrating. But at least I didn't have to live with her. And everyone else was really nice to me, so... She was just so childish. I didn't want to stoop down to her level, so eventually I just stopped caring. But then, a few days later when we went to their house for dinner, something happened. That night, she made us pork cutlets. But when she brought over my plate, I was shocked. My plate was a mess. She clearly did this on purpose. My plate was the only one that looked like this.
What are you doing?
Mom, what's wrong with you?
The others started yelling at her. Then Keiko's husband grabbed my plate and placed it in front of her, telling her to eat it herself. But she didn't seem to care. What's the big deal? It all ends up in the same place anyways, and I already ate, so I don't want it. Wow. My husband was pissed. We got up and left.
Forget about her. I'm never going back there again.
He said. You sure? I was kind of relieved to hear that, to be honest.
After what she did to you, I'm sure.
Takashi, thank you. I hugged him from behind. Then, a few years later, we had our first child.
We haven't seen her in years, but maybe we should go say hello,
said my husband, so we went over to Keiko's house. Hey, long time no see, she said with a smile on her face, but something about her felt off. Come on in. As we walked in, she gave me this weird look. Can I hold her? I wanted to say no, but I didn't really have a choice. She's so pretty. She looks exactly like her daddy, but her nose is so flat. I think she gets it from her mother, she said to me. Seriously? She hasn't changed a bit. Then she kept going. Why did it take you so long to come over? You didn't even tell me when you got pregnant. You gotta tell me these things ahead of time. I forced myself to smile and said to her, yeah, sorry. Hey, you hungry? Want me to make you something? Sure. I'll make some noodles then. Oh, okay, thanks. Then I got an idea. 15 minutes later, they all started gathering at the dining table. Here you go. When I placed the plates on the table, they all froze up. I filled up one of the bowls with flour instead of noodles. Then I placed the bowl of flour in front of Keiko. Go ahead, it all ends up in the same place anyways, right? Dig in. Her face started turning red. Everyone looked terrified. But I didn't care. I sat down and started eating. The others started eating in silence. Maki, I can't eat this! Make it again! She yelled at me. Why not? It all ends up in the same place, right? You said it yourself. Fine, screw you! I'm not eating this! She looked furious. I tried really hard not to laugh. After cleaning up the table, I put on some tea. Then I said to Keiko, oh, sorry, I didn't make you any. You like to prepare your own tea, right? Well, go ahead, I guess. Here you go, everyone. Enjoy. How dare you! I'm never eating with you again! She stood up. She looked furious. Oh, fine by me. I'm never cooking for you again, so no worries, I said with a big smile on my face. Then I got up to leave. Well then, bye! She kept yelling at us from behind, but we didn't care. Man, that felt good. I'm never going back there again. We have been married for half a year, but we have something that we always argue about. It's that my husband likes really strong flavors. He's usually a pretty good person, but we got in a big fight before because he added extra salt to something already flavored with soy sauce. What are you doing? That has soy on it!
Huh? But it doesn't taste strong enough! Who cares? It's only for me.
That's not good for you! It's already seasoned with salted too!
Shut up! It should be up to me! Fine, whatever! I'll eat this like this, but I'm eating it with anchovies!
He hit the table hard and stood up to grab a tube of anchovy pasta. I didn't know what he was going to do with it, but he started mixing his rice with the anchovy pasta. I was so surprised that I knocked over his bowl of rice. You're going to die from high blood pressure! I knew that I did something I probably shouldn't have, but he took the bowl of rice to the kitchen. He got a new bowl of rice, sighed out loud, and started eating the fish. I think it was at the end of my patience. Then, one day...
Mom says she'll cook for us today. Let's go to her house.
Huh? He had told me that she was the reason he liked food with strong flavor. According to him, from other people, his mother's cooking was extra strong, but to him, it tasted like home. I was afraid, but I had gone to his home a few times after getting married. We had also eaten out a few times, but this would be the first time that my mother-in-law would cook for us. I figured I could eat a lot of rice with a strong flavor if it was too strong, but reality was worse than I expected. Hello, Monsieur Meko. Watch and learn. My son doesn't like to eat unless it's my flavor. You're from the south, which means you like less seasoning, but since you married my son, you need to learn more strong flavors.
Yeah! You need to learn Mom's seasoning!
He was half joking, but I looked at my mother-in-law's cooking that lay in front of me. It was all brown, almost like squid ink. I could see the salt crystals on the food. I'm sorry, I can't eat anymore. Thank you for the food. I could only resist about 3 bites. It was beyond salty. The second that I took a bite from the fish, I felt like I was drying up in some kind of desert. I couldn't stand it. What? Come on, don't be tearing up now. Kids nowadays. My mother-in-law was complaining, but my head was pounding from how much salt I had just taken in. I put down my chopsticks. My father-in-law didn't say anything and didn't really eat anything. This household, damn. On the way home...
You better remember how Mom cooks. How could you eat while crying? I'm eating your food even though I hate it.
I can't handle it. I couldn't keep up with the taste of a man who wanted to add soy and an entire bottle of salt in a box of curry. The next day, I started making different food for my husband.
What? What is this?
My husband was upset about the difference in our food. You like stronger flavor, right? I'll just make different flavors for each other.
What? You complained this much, and now you're complaining? The audacity!
I'm not sure what was so audacious about what I did. I was worried about my own health, so I started making my own food. Was that really wrong? I did what I could for him. I added as much salt without making him complain and causing him health problems. He still said that I didn't make it strong enough. Then what did you want me to do? The flavor you want is almost 3 times the saltiness of ocean water. I literally can't measure how much salt you want.
That's my mom's taste! The taste of home! What do you want me to do?
I was at the end of my patience. I thought that maybe my cooking was bad and I had cooked for my friends, but they had all loved it. I just couldn't take it anymore. I've never heard of a household that actually boils soy to make it more concentrated. I can't handle your cooking anymore.
What? I can't be married to a wife who won't even watch her husband's health! We're getting a divorce!
I felt nauseous after seeing my husband bragging after saying divorce. I figured I would make extremely salty things and slowly reduce the amount of sodium, but when he said that he was going to divorce me, I couldn't stand his ugly mug. I couldn't hold back the thought of being grossed out by my own husband when he grabbed a bottle of salt and started pouring it on his own food. I didn't know what the original meal was anymore. This salt man that only lived off of 3 times the saltiness of the ocean. The next day, I took off early in the day and went to an attorney's office. I loved him enough to marry him, so I wanted to what I cooked for him, so I knew that if I took my time, I wouldn't be sure anymore. I asked a lawyer and made a choice on the spot. I was probably fast to get out of the house, but the house and the land we lived on belonged to my father. I didn't need any compensation. I just wanted him out and divorced. I was rushing, but of course he wanted to delay everything.
If you give me what I deserve, I'll divorce you. You're the one that started it, so you should pay me. Also, give me half of your savings since we're married.
He was saying things that would make my head hurt, but I took photos and records of everything that I was feeding my husband. It led to a successful divorce with me clearly winning. We had successfully divorced, but I knew he wouldn't just leave the house, so I gave him enough money to move out to a new apartment and 2 months of rent. Of course, after he left, I asked my father to sell the house and land and change my contact information as well. From an outside perspective, it might seem like overkill, but I didn't want anything to do with him anymore. However, 2 years after the divorce, I got an email in my company mail. It was my ex-husband, and he didn't look anything like he did 2 years ago. It was an old man taking a selfie of himself. What did it say, you might ask?
My liver is having problems and I can't really live well. I can't even work. I got used to living on a special diet so I can handle your weak cooking. Don't worry. I leave the hospital on X day, so give me your phone number. I told you! I can handle your crappy food now. I can't leave the hospital alone, come on!
I ignored him, but he kept saying things that only made me think that he was high on salt, so I spoke to my lawyer that helped me with the divorce again. She moved quickly, but my ex-husband didn't listen and showed up at my workplace. I called the police and they took him away. He looked like a monster. He wasn't acting like a human anymore. I thought that I would never meet the person I fell in love with anymore. I was actually a little sad. My ex-husband ended up staying in the hospital. The next day, my ex-father-in-law called the attorney's office to apologize.
Please tell him to never contact his ex-wife again.
So maybe that was the end of it? I figured that I would keep having to change my address and vehicle, but if that was all it took to stay away from the salty man, I didn't care. Honestly, I hoped that his remaining life would go away before my savings did. But I can't tell anyone that. If I have a kid, I would never raise it to be like him. I want my child to have proper food and act like a regular human. I swore to myself in that moment. I married my husband about a year ago, but we had to postpone our honeymoon because he was really busy with work at the time. We were planning to go on our honeymoon on our first anniversary, but then...
Hey, about our honeymoon. My parents are coming with us. Oh, and my sister and her kid, too.
What?
Dad's paying for it all, so... Plus, it'll be a good opportunity for you to make friends with my sister.
What? But this is our honeymoon.
Fine, you can bring someone from your family, too.
I had 2 sisters, so I told them about what happened. I can't. I got work. Is he serious? This is your honeymoon. You should try talking to him again. But if I were you, I'd think about getting a divorce. Yeah.
Wait, I got an idea. His dad's gonna pay for everything, right? Might as well have some fun. You can always think about getting a divorce afterwards.
I guess you're right. So my little sister agreed to come with me on my honeymoon. A few weeks later, we all met up at the airport. My sister was wearing a pretty skimpy outfit. Thank you for inviting me. She was very polite. My father-in-law liked her right from the start.
Of course, it's nice to meet you.
Oh, look at her clothes. That's so inappropriate. But my mother-in-law and her daughter looked really unhappy. Then we boarded the plane. My sister sat next to my husband's niece. They were getting along pretty well. My father-in-law was enjoying her company as well. Then, a few hours later...
It's so sunny out. You got any sunscreen?
Yeah, but it's in my suitcase.
What? You're so useless.
Oh, you forgot to bring sunscreen? Oh no. Here, use some of mine. Oh, Hey, I wanted lunch at that famous restaurant. This isn't the place. What? How's that my fault?
Don't talk back to her.
Come on, everyone. Stop fighting.
Yeah, quiet you two! Sorry about them. They're always like this.
Oh. My mother-in-law and her daughter kept trying to harass me, but my sister and my father-in-law stood up for me. My father-in-law took a real liking to my sister. They were really enjoying themselves. The food here is amazing, and the drinks too. I love it here. But then my mother-in-law started whispering to her daughter. Then she brought out a bottle of wine and challenged my sister to a drink-off.
Come on, drink with me. Let's see what you're made out of.
But then, she lost miserably. Her parents had to take care of her all day long.
Sorry about them. Don't worry about them, though. Go enjoy your vacation.
He even gave us some allowances, so my sister and I went out to the city to go shopping. Not sure what my husband was doing that day, but oh well, who cares? A few days later, we came home from our honeymoon. Then my sister came over to the house. This time she was properly dressed. Then she apologized to my husband. Sorry about the way I acted on your honeymoon, but I had my reasons. I came here today to explain why I did all that. This whole thing was my older sister's idea. The skimpy outfit, getting my father-in-law on our side, all of it, and it worked perfectly. At first, my husband was upset. He said he just wanted us all to be friends. But this was our honeymoon. I told you many times I didn't want to go there with your entire family. I just wanted to spend time with you. She's your family too, you know. Did you even think about her feelings? Then, a few minutes later...
I'm sorry. I was wrong. I'll take some time off from work soon. I'll take you on a real honeymoon. Just the two of us. I'm really sorry.
He apologized to us. My husband cleaned up his act after that. His mother and sister didn't bother me as much anymore. They still try from time to time, but when they do, I just bring up my sister and they usually stop. By the way, we became really good friends with my father-in-law after that. He takes us out to dinner from time to time, and for some reason, his wife always comes along, looking pissed. She probably thought he was having an affair or something. It was kind of funny.
My name is Atsushi Tanabe. I'm in my early 30s and single. I had been living at home, but after I turned 30, I was going to move due to work. It was time for me to move out, so I live alone. I live with a wheat allergy. I carry around an EpiPen for insurance, in case something happens. I cook my own food and my lunch is my own cooking too. If I didn't have my mom's recipe, I'd never be able to cook. My mother had always handled my allergies, so I appreciated it a lot once I started living alone. If I was going to die, I knew that I would eat a lot of bread and noodles. That was what I dreamt of as a kid. My mother would try her best to make things look and taste like the real thing without using any real wheat. My mother's wheat were made without having to work too much, so I didn't have any problems cooking every day. The boss at my new workplace understood allergies, so it wasn't a problem. But there was one person who was problematic. Her name was Mayuko Uti.
These cookies are 100% organic and produced by Japanese wheat. They should be fine.
She had believed that allergies were just people being weak. You can't be picky at that age. That's why you can't get married. Leave me alone, please.
Hey, I'm worried for you. Don't you understand?
She would keep messing with me after I had informed the office that I was allergic to wheat. At first, she started giving me foods that were clearly wheat, so I kept turning her down. But eventually, she started handing me snacks that were not so clear if they had wheat in it or not.
They're handmade. I took care with the ingredients.
It's not about where it's produced or how much care you took. I kept explaining it, but she wouldn't listen, so I explained it to my boss. I really can't eat a single bite of wheat. Even breathing some dusting can be enough for me to go into shock. Can you tell her? I've been warning her, but... She's very prideful. She's great at her job and a lot of people rely on her, but She's not exactly what you would call a bad person. She's just overly pushy. If only she understood allergies. I only ate things that I brought into the office to protect myself from any allergies. That included drinks. My co-workers even started calling me stoic for how much I'd only eaten my own food, but I didn't want to die. However, I had eventually collapsed, no matter how stoic I was. When I heard about a surprise conference and had to leave my desk, someone had messed with my food. I didn't know what was wrong with it. I collapsed during lunch. When I woke up, I was in a hospital bed. You awake? I was so worried about you. I was apparently out for almost half the day, and my parents had shown up after they heard what happened. Why? I only eat things that I cook. Miss Ito had said something about how you fell asleep while eating your lunch. My co-worker, who had seen our regular interactions, called the ambulance after seeing me. Ito just kept saying, "Ah," not understanding the gravity of the situation. My co-worker had explained that I had collapsed after eating lunch to the emergency workers. They asked to see the lunchbox, but when my boss had checked, it was empty. It was washed clean, apparently. I was almost killed, so I called the police, but... Do you have any evidence? Proof? If you don't have anything, we can't do anything. I see. Okay. I put out a complaint about how I was almost killed, but they couldn't do anything since I had no proof. The doctors had explained everything to my parents and they came to my room. My co-worker had left after they showed up. I only cooked things the way you did. If Miss Ito did something, what was it? There was one thing that my parents could think of. I was decent at cooking, but I lived alone. I would cook a lot of things and meal prep. There was a pretty good routine in what I would cook. I remember telling some of my co-workers that I was going to make tempura this week. I was often the center of attention when it came to cooking since I was a single guy. I didn't think much of it, but if someone had predicted what I was going to cook... When I explained that to my parents wanted to speak to Ms. Ito to see what she had to say. They contacted my boss and asked for her personal number. The husband of the woman you're talking about answered. She says she wanted to talk to us directly, so I'm gonna go meet with her mom. Mom and Dad left the room. Luckily, even though I'd fallen into shock, it wasn't that bad. I was going to be able to leave in a few days. I was glad that all the tests had been done when my parents came back. She apparently is too pushy. What do you mean?
She had done the same thing to her husband's wife. She also fell into shock.
What? You're kidding! They had apparently cut off all contact with her after that. I left a few days later, but I'd stayed at my parents' place for a little bit. My father had to go for a little bit, but just as he was about to leave the apartment, there was a doorbell, and Ito and her husband were there. I'm so terribly sorry for this! He was begging for mercy as soon as I opened the door.
I didn't do anything wrong. I just wanted to help you.
Her husband was yelling at her to apologize, but she wouldn't budge.
My brother's child was sick at first from eggs, but after he grew up, he was fine after he cooked it. He told me! That's not the same allergy. Everyone is also different.
My mother had lost it against Ito. It's true that sometimes people grow out of their allergies, but that's not something that fits everyone. My mother explained that, but Ito didn't budge at all.
It's because you spoiled your son. He's never going to get married.
Her husband smacked her with all his might, and she collapsed before she finished her sentence. Every time she tried to say something, he just slapped her, and she just quietly started crying. My parents and I were just quietly watching. Mr. Ito gave my father quite a bit of money, saying it was for a settlement, and dragged Ito home. Ito wasn't back at work anymore, and she apparently resigned. I hadn't seen her for a while, but I noticed a news article. Huh, she fed snacks to kids at the park. Mayuko Ito. You're kidding! I saw Miss Ito and some kids who had allergies. She had fed them exactly what they were allergic to. I always wished I could eat things made from wheat as a kid, but I felt so bad. The kids were still unconscious. Why didn't she just stop after me? She was deemed guilty later on and was put into prison. Luckily, the kids had made a full recovery. Allergies are not just people being picky. Most people understand that, but sometimes there are people like Miss Ito. Don't be like her and force your own values down someone's throat and almost kill them.
Every year, I remember when it's summer.
Oh man, I just can't help remember when it's this, huh?
Ah, Miss Yanagi. Yeah, she was pretty messed up, huh? She used to be a friend of mine. Her name was Miss Yanagi. A few years ago, summer break, there were 4 families we got along with. We went to a day trip with 3 cars in the countryside. It took about 3 hours one way, and we went to a facility where all the kids and parents would do things together. The kids had brought us discount tickets before summer break. Wanna try going? We had lived in that area before, and so we knew the location. It was summer break, so why not? We had thought. 6 adults and 6 kids, 12 total. There were 4 moms and their families. One of them was Miss Yanagi. Of the 4 families, 2 fathers couldn't go. My husband and Miss Yanagi's husband were the 2 that couldn't. After we had gone through all the facility, we were about to head back at around 3 p.m. when...
I don't want to go home yet.
Oh, come on, Miss Yanagi, you're a grown-up. It's summer break. The roads are going to be super crowded. It'll take us at least 3 hours. We need to head out. Yeah, I need to get home and start cooking. I had known how busy the roads would get, so I explained that we had to be on the road before it got too bad. But
The kids want to keep playing too. There's no point in leaving if we came all the way out here.
she wouldn't listen, so we ended up leaving her there. Let me just explain the area we were in. The roads in the area we were at were empty. However, there was a large factory area near the city that we played at. They had paved the mountains to build these facilities, and they were inside valleys, so you couldn't see much. Most people would need GPS to get around. A lot of people would crowd these roads on the way home from the factory, so something that took 5 minutes would take an hour. If you try to find a way around, you'd find yourself in some unmaintained road. If you're lucky, you get lost. If you're unlucky, you're involved in an accident. More than likely, it was the GPS. It would try to avoid the traffic and take you down some really rough roads. You could barely fit 1 car in some of these roads. There were sharp turns and cliffs everywhere. Of course, there were no lights and no guardrails either. You just had to keep going. During the day, you could at least see, but at night, it was almost zero visibility. Most people were too afraid to turn around. Eventually, you lose signal and people would panic. I've experienced this before. I was wandering around for 3.5 hours when some lady who lived there told me where to go, and I was able to get out of it alive. I knew that Miss Yanagi had the same phone and service as me, so I didn't want her to be like me. I had warned her to not take any small side roads. However, just like I expected, she suddenly called me in the middle of the night. Her and her daughter were both crying. She was doing the same thing I had done and asked me for help. She also barely had signal. She was barely able to call me.
Help me!
I knew what she was feeling, so I understood, but I couldn't do anything. Where are you?
I don't know!
I tried to calm her down, and my husband had called the local police about the situation. I kept telling her while my husband explained. The police are on the way to help, don't worry. But she just wouldn't listen to me.
We're terrified and you won't come help us! You're the worst!
And then she hung up on us. I wasn't sure if she had hung up on me or if she had lost signal. I tried calling again, but she didn't pick up. We had asked the police to save the mom and daughter, but we couldn't do anything, so we went to her husband. Right around the next day, the police had contacted us, letting us know they had her. I was glad they found her before she had an accident. However, the next day, her and her husband showed up yelling at our doorstep.
there! I'm gonna sue you! If you don't want to be sued, you better pay us!
You're the one begging to not go on your own. I told you we should go. I even warned you not to take any side roads. Please leave. She was still saying something, but I closed the door in their faces. I was tired of her and stopped talking to her. However, since we live in the same city and our kids had connections, I couldn't ignore her calls and lines. She would lie to the people around her, telling them about how I had left them all alone without saying a single word. They had begged us to help, but we didn't listen, or so she said. She was left in a place with no signal and had to try to find a way home, but she was lost in the mountains. When her phone finally had signal and she called, I had mocked her and hung up. Of course, while she spread these lies, she threatened me online and phone calls. I was tired of this and started feeling threatened. I decided that I would turn around and sue her for defamation. She moved quickly, almost as if to run away. I guess she didn't want to pay for the damages. It wasn't enough. I had hired a lawyer and formally sued her, so it didn't matter where she ran. It turned out she was at her parents' house. Her parents had dragged Miss Yanagi and begged for her mercy. I'm sorry for our daughter's actions.
She has kids! Please!
I had no intentions of letting it go, so on top of damages, I sued her for the attorney fees as well. Of course, my lawyer had no problem explaining that to her. I didn't want anything to do with her, so I have a restraining order as well. So, I just want all of you to remember that if you don't know where you're going, make sure you don't take any small side roads.
Thanks for watching! Don't forget to subscribe and hit that like button. Bye!